All right. Hello. Good morning, good evening, and good night. I hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic because today I want to talk to you guys about MSTY and my personal returns within my portfolio. If you guys watch this channel, we did a similar kind of review on XYZY yesterday. And the reason why I'm doing one today on MSTY is I think it's a good opportunity for me to go back and look through all the buys within my portfolio. See, okay, how much did I actually spend on all my purchases for each of my investments, and then as well how much cash flow did they generate. This, unfortunately, I wish MSTY generated this much for me, but what I've done is I've taken the hard work out. I've already added up exactly how much I've spent and how much I have collected from MSTY, and in this video today we're going to look at that and a lot more, just to kind of go over, okay, what is my total return for this ETF? And if this does interest you, you find it entertaining and you find it valuable, we're up to 8,473 subscribers. And if you hit the like button, it really helps this channel and pushes this video to more people. So I really appreciate that. So without further ado, let's get into my buys. And just to let you know right off the bat, I don't have it here, but my average price for MSTY is $25.50. The reason being is because I own 100 shares of MSTY, and my total investment is $2,505. So we don't have to add that up anymore. Basically, you can see here that on January 17th, I bought 17 shares of MSTY at a share price of $29.75. That is a fairly high marker to pay for the stock. So probably about this marker right here in January. So you could see there's probably a lot better buying opportunities. We move on to the next one, which was 10 shares of MSTY at $27.64. This was once again in January, kind of closer to the start of February. And for this, you could see that the market had a little bit of a dip, so I decided to reinvest and buy 10 more shares. Now we kind of fast forward once again. There's only two other times where I bought MSTY. I bought 13 shares at $20.74. Currently, this position's probably paid me out quite a bit. This was in April 15th. April 15th was when we kind of went through this big kind of crash here. And if we go to April 15th specifically, you can see this was the price point that I bought it about $20.74. So a pretty good buy because we had an increase in MSTY and the underlying stock MSTR, and those dividends have definitely been paying me more than I have. They've been paying me out even though I'm down on that position and I'm up on those shares, which is great. But the biggest investment that I made in MSTY actually came a little bit later on, which was April 30th, where I bought 60 shares for $24.23. And this is actually a poor purchase on myself because you could see here that was roughly at about the top where MSTY reached its peak back in May, and it's been falling ever since. But interestingly enough, MSTR, the underlying stock, this was in May. Because MSTY pays such high dividends, the share price is actually eroded a little bit. But when we look at the all-time chart of MSTY, it's only down about 6.4%. And MSTY has been an amazing performing yield max ETF because the underlying stock has moved so heavily. But one thing to keep in mind is in the same period that MSTY has returned basically about 82 to 100% in terms of dividends, it's also not really kept up with the underlying stock because MSTR in the exact same time frame has gone up almost 400%. If we kind of zoom out here, the starting date for MSTY was 2024 February 19th. If we go to 2024 February 19th on MSTR, which it's not really showing up at the moment, the stock was trading at about $70. So that's almost a 5x in the underlying, whereas MSTY maybe returned about 100% to 150%, somewhere within that range. But for me specifically, with my 100 shares, I've calculated all the dividends, and they equate to $663 over the course of all my buys. So with all that being said, how does that compare to my position? Well, I'm actually slightly up on MSTY, but only slightly. The reason being, of course, well, if we look over here, I didn't buy very impressive buys within MSTY. This is actually a stock where I could have done it a lot better. I could have bought a lot better, and I didn't. And so that's on me. MSTY has been actually a very good yield max ETF. Of course, not necessarily saying that you should buy or get in it. I'm just showing you my current returns. But you can see I'm down about $590. I'm going to scroll down here. $590. Says I'm down about 23%. When we look at my dividends, I'm up to 663. So what we'll do here is I'm going to go $2,505, which is my book value. That's my starting value. This is my current market value, which shows the book value subtract $590. I'm going to take this $663.34, subtract it from this 663.34, and that shows you whoops. Now what we need to do is we need to subtract the current market value, which is $1,915. We're going to round it up. So subtract 1,915, and my total profit on MSTY is $72. I know it's in the negative here. It's just because I did the calculation weird, but $72 on an initial investment of $2,505. If we now divide this by 2505, this will give us our return, which is 3%. So this, in turn, MSTY has returned me about 3%. Dividends are obviously helping out with that. We're down 23% on paper, but of course the dividends helped us to kind of battle back. But 3% is not a great return at all. That's a very poor return. Of course, MSTR and MSTY have fluctuated pretty heavily just within even the past month, as it normally does. It's very volatile, down about 7%. Here's the thing. When we look at positions like this, we could be down 23% one day, and we could be up about maybe not up, but then it could fluctuate back to maybe down 19%. And on those days, then our investment is worth roughly about 7% return. But for the current time period, that's where we sit right now, a 3% return on MSTY after holding for pretty much since February. And of course, mine is kind of about the worst you can get, just due to the fact that where I bought, so your returns are likely better for that, which I guess is good news for you. One thing that I do want to mention is just kind of Microstrategy's current market cap. Of course, I understand they have an underlying software business where it's business intelligence, and there's a lot better YouTube videos out there which will explain what exactly Microstrategy does, so I don't necessarily want to get into it. But the main thing and a big reason why a lot of people hold it is because they hold a lot of Bitcoin. And let me see if I can show MSTR's current market cap, because MSTR currently holds 628,791 Bitcoins at a current price of $116,621. So let's calculate that right now. I have the amount in terms of Bitcoins that they hold, 116,637. Let's do that right here. 637. So their total in terms of Bitcoin is $73 billion. We can see the first thousand, the million, the first thousand, the million, the billion, $73 billion worth of Bitcoin, and their current stock sits at a market cap of about $112 billion. So in terms of their earnings per share, looking pretty good, but of course that's relative to a $400 stock price. But this kind of puts it in perspective. Okay, the company holds about $73 billion worth of Bitcoin. They are worth or valued at about $112 billion. I do think they're currently a bit overvalued. Might actually look to reduce my shares in MSTY just because, okay, the return wasn't fantastic. I haven't necessarily gotten an amazing return, got 3%, but I do think that MicroStrategies is approaching somewhat of a high period now, being close to $400. Not necessarily certain about the price of Bitcoin going forward. Of course, that's just my own opinion, but that's what I might do. Of course, if I do any updates, I will let you guys know. I hope this video was found valuable. We're up to 8,473 subscribers. I hope you guys enjoyed going through my total return on MSTY. There will be more to come, and I really hope you guys stick around for the next video.